The story of Elon Musk is not merely the biography of a billionaire. It is a saga that spans 2 continents, multiple industries, and the vast emptiness of space itself. To understand the man who stands today as the wealthiest individual in the world, one must look far beyond the headlines and the stock prices. One must look back to a quiet, often lonely boy in Pretoria, South Africa, who found solace in the pages of science fiction novels and the glowing green text of early computers. Today, Elon Musk is the architect of the future, a man whose companies Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, The Boring Company, and X are actively reshaping how we live, how we move, and how we communicate. But his journey to this pinnacle was paved with near bankruptcy, public humiliation, and a relentless, almost punishing work ethic that few could survive. This is the story of his life, his family, his education, his unparalleled hard work, his contributions to technology, and the kindness that drives his mission to save humanity. Elon Reeve Musk was born on June 28, 1971, in Pretoria, South Africa. His mother, May Musk, was a Canadian-born model and dietitian, a woman of immense poise and resilience who would later become a symbol of timeless beauty and strength. His father, Errol Musk, was a South African electromechanical engineer, a pilot, and a property developer. The family was wealthy, yet Elon's early life was anything but idyllic. He was an introspective child, often so lost in his own daydreams that his parents briefly wondered if he might be deaf. But he wasn't deaf. He was thinking. He was consuming information at a rate that stunned those around him. By the time he was 9 years old, he had read the entire Encyclopedia Britannica, absorbing facts about everything from rocket propulsion to philosophy. His home life, however, became turbulent after his parents divorced in 1980. Elon, feeling a sense of duty and empathy toward his father, chose to live with him, a decision he would later describe as a mistake due to the psychological difficulties he endured in that household. Yet it was in this environment that his resilience was forged. At school, things were no easier. Elon was the youngest and smallest in his class, a socially awkward boy who preferred books to rugby. He was brutally bullied, relentlessly targeted by gangs of boys who once threw him down a flight of concrete stairs and beat him until he was unrecognizable, landing him in the hospital. These years of isolation and physical pain taught him to endure, to retreat into his mind, and to envision worlds where logic and science prevailed over brute force. His escape was the computer. At the age of 10, he saw his first computer at a shopping mall in Johannesburg and was instantly mesmerized. He begged his father for a Commodore VIC-20. When he got it, he didn't just play games. He learned to make them, using a manual that was intended to take 6 months to complete. Elon stayed up for 3 days straight, finishing it in a sleepless marathon. By age 12, he had coded a space-themed video game called Blastar, in a foreshadowing of his future business acumen. He sold the code to a computer magazine for $500. It was his first technology sale, and it was the spark that lit a fire. He realized that through technology, he could turn the ideas in his head into reality. As he approached his late teens, Elon knew he could not stay in South Africa. The country was in the grip of apartheid, a system he detested, and he faced mandatory military service in a regime he morally opposed. He saw America as the land of opportunity, the place where great things were possible. Utilizing his mother's Canadian citizenship, he immigrated to Canada in 1989. Just before his 18th birthday, he arrived with little money and no home, working odd jobs to survive. He shoveled grain in a silo, cut logs with a chainsaw, and cleaned the boiler room of a lumber mill, grueling, dangerous physical labor that tested his stamina. His education formally continued at Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario. It was here that his intellectual confidence began to match his ambition. He was a standout student, but his eyes were still fixed on the United States. After 2 years at Queen's, he transferred to the University of Pennsylvania on a scholarship. There, he pursued a dual degree that would perfectly encapsulate his dual nature, a Bachelor of Science in Physics and a Bachelor of Arts in Economics from the Wharton School. Physics taught him how the universe worked, the first principles of energy and matter. Economics taught him how the world worked, the flow of capital and value. This combination would become his superpower, the ability to understand the engineering limits of a product and the business logic required to make it successful. During his college years, the first glimpses of his legendary work ethic appeared. To pay for rent, he and his roommate rented a large, dilapidated fraternity house and turned it into a nightclub on weekends. Elon would stay sober, managing the door and the money, while hundreds of students paid to party in his house. He was already an entrepreneur, seeing opportunities where others saw only chaos. After graduating from Penn, Elon moved to California to pursue a PhD in energy physics at Stanford University. It was 1995, and the internet boom was just beginning. The allure of the World Wide Web was too strong to ignore. After just 2 days at Stanford, he dropped out. He told himself that he could watch the internet revolution happen from a lab, or he could be a part of it. He chose the latter. With his brother Kimball, Elon founded his first company, Zip2. They had almost no money. They rented a small office in Palo Alto, and because they couldn't afford an apartment, they slept on futons in the office. They showered at the local YMCA. This was the beginning of the hardcore work ethic that would define Elon's career. He coded through the night, 7 days a week. When he was asleep, the code wasn't changing, so he slept as little as possible. Zipter provided online city guides for newspapers like the New York Times and the Chicago Tribune. It was a novel concept at the time, putting the yellow pages and maps on the internet. His hard work paid off. In 1999, Compaq Computer purchased Zip2 for roughly $300 million. Elon, at age 27, walked away with $22 million. Most people would have retired to a private island. Elon Musk was just getting started. He took his millions and bet them almost entirely on his next venture, XCOM. He saw the banking industry as archaic, slow, and ripe for disruption. He wanted to create an online bank where you could email money to people. It was a radical idea. XCOM merged with a competitor called Confinity, which had a product called PayPal. The merger was messy, and corporate infighting led to Elon being ousted as CEO while he was on his honeymoon, a brutal blow to his ego. Yet he remained on the board and kept his equity. When eBay acquired PayPal in 2002 for $1.5 billion, Elon's share was approximately $180 million. This is the moment where Elon Musk diverges from every other successful entrepreneur in history. With $180 million in the bank, he could have built a safe investment portfolio. Instead, he decided to tackle the two biggest problems he saw facing humanity: the risk of human extinction and the climate crisis. He poured $100 million into founding SpaceX, $70 million into Tesla, and $10 million into SolarCity. He literally had to borrow money for rent shortly after having liquidated his fortune to fund these companies. This was not investment. This was a crusade. SpaceX, founded in 2002, was born from a dream to put a greenhouse on Mars to get the public excited about space again. When he realized that rockets were too expensive to buy, he decided to build them himself. The industry laughed at him. They called him a rich amateur who would lose everything, and he almost did. SpaceX's first 3 launches of the Falcon 1 rocket were catastrophic failures. The rockets exploded, spun out of control, or failed to reach orbit. By 2008, SpaceX was out of money. They had parts for one last rocket. If the 4th launch failed, the company would die, and the dream of Mars would die with it. Simultaneously, Tesla was in a death spiral. Elon had joined the electric car startup in 2004, leading its funding rounds and overseeing the design of the Roadster. But by 2008, the global financial crisis had dried up investment capital. Tesla was hemorrhaging cash, and the media was writing obituaries for the electric car. Elon was facing a personal divorce and the public collapse of both his companies. He was working 120-hour weeks, sleeping on factory floors, and vomiting from stress. In December 2008, he scraped together every last cent he had, borrowing from friends and liquidating assets to keep Tesla alive. Then, the miracle happened. In September 2008, the 4th Falcon 1 rocket reached orbit, the first privately developed liquid fuel rocket to do so. It was a historic achievement. NASA took notice and awarded SpaceX a $1.6 billion contract to resupply the International Space Station, saving the company. Days later, on Christmas Eve 2008, Tesla's financing round closed in the final hours, saving the car company. Elon had pushed all his chips to the center of the table and won. From that crucible of stress, he emerged as a technological titan. Tesla released the Model S in 2012, a car that shattered every preconceived notion about electric vehicles. It was fast, beautiful, and safe. It was the best car ever tested by Consumer Reports. He followed it with the Model X, the Model 3, and the Model Y, driving the entire automotive industry toward sustainable energy. He didn't just build cars. He built a network of superchargers to make travel possible, and he built gigafactories to produce batteries at a scale never before seen. At SpaceX, the innovation was even more rapid. Elon realized that to make space travel affordable, rockets had to be reusable. The industry said it was impossible. Elon ignored them. He guided his team to land the first stage booster of a Falcon 9 rocket back on Earth after launching a payload into space. Seeing that rocket land vertically, like something out of a sci-fi movie, remains one of the most iconic images of the 21st century. Today, SpaceX dominates the global launch market, sending astronauts to the ISS and launching thousands of Starlink satellites to provide internet to the remotest corners of the globe. But Elon's contributions to technology didn't stop there. He co-founded OpenAI to ensure artificial intelligence would be safe for humanity. He founded Neuralink to create a high-bandwidth brain-machine interface, aiming to cure neurological conditions and eventually allow humans to merge with AI. He founded the Boring Company to solve traffic through 3D tunnel networks. And in a controversial but bold move, he acquired Twitter, rebranding it as X, with the stated goal of preserving it as a digital town square for free speech, which he views as essential for civilization. So, where does he stand today? Elon Musk is the wealthiest person on the planet, but his standing is measured in more than dollars. He is a geopolitical force. His Starlink satellites have kept communication lines open in war zones like Ukraine and provided connectivity to disaster-struck regions like Tonga. He has revived the American space program, restoring the ability to launch astronauts from US soil. He has forced every major automaker to shift to electric vehicles, arguably doing more for the fight against climate change than any government policy in history. Yet, amidst the rockets and the billions, people often ask about his character. How was he successful with people? The media often portrays him as a demanding, relentless boss, and it is true that he expects excellence. He works alongside his teams, often harder than anyone else. Stories abound of engineers finding him asleep under a desk at the Tesla factory at 3 a.m., covered in grime, troubleshooting a production line. This leadership by example earns him a fierce loyalty. He doesn't ask anyone to do what he isn't willing to do himself, but there is a profound kindness in his motivation, a macro kindness that drives his every waking moment. His kindness is not always the soft, interpersonal kind, but rather a fierce, protective love for humanity as a species. When asked why he wants to go to Mars, he speaks with genuine emotion about the light of consciousness. He wants to preserve the delicate flame of human life by making us a multiplanetary species. He fears that if we stay on Earth forever, an extinction event is inevitable. His life's work is an act of service to the future. This kindness also manifests in direct action. When the education system didn't suit his children or the children of his employees, he didn't just complain. He built a school called Ad Astra, free of grade levels and focused on problem solving and critical thinking. When he saw that patent laws were holding back the adoption of electric vehicles, he did the unthinkable. He open-sourced all of Tesla's patents. He announced to the world that anyone could use Tesla's technology to build electric cars, promising not to sue them. He reasoned that we are all on the same sinking ship regarding climate change, and using a bucket to bail out water faster than others doesn't matter if the ship still sinks. He wanted everyone to have a bucket. Furthermore, his philanthropic entity, the Musk Foundation, has quietly donated hundreds of millions of dollars. He has funded renewable energy projects in disaster zones, donated millions to ensure clean water in Flint, Michigan, and supported the X Prize for carbon removal with a $100 million donation. His Starlink service has been provided for free to schools in the Amazon rainforests and clinics in Africa, connecting people to the sum of human knowledge for the first time. Elon Musk's success with people stems from his ability to make them feel part of a story much larger than themselves. He inspires the world's best engineers to work 80-hour weeks not for a paycheck, but because they believe they are making history. He sells a vision of hope, a future that is more exciting than the past. He is a man who looks at the impossible and sees it merely as an engineering problem to be solved. As we stand in the present day, Elon Musk is not just standing in the world, he is holding the weight of its future on his shoulders. He is currently overseeing the development of Starship, the largest flying object ever built, designed to take humans to Mars. He is refining the Optimus robot to take over dangerous labor. He is pushing the boundaries of what a human brain can do with Neuralink. His journey from the bullied boy in Pretoria to the master of the universe is a testament to the power of resilience. It teaches us that intelligence is nothing without the will to act. It teaches us that failure is not the opposite of success, but a necessary stepping stone toward it. Elon Musk's life is a reminder that one person, armed with a book, a computer, and an unshakable belief, can change the trajectory of history. He has shown us that the ceiling of human potential is far higher than we thought, and that the stars are not just lights in the sky, but destinations. In the end, his biography is still being written. Every launch, every new car, every tweet adds a line to the legend, but the core remains the same. A man who loves humanity enough to dedicate his life to saving it, even if it means enduring the fire of criticism and the crushing weight of expectation. His success is our success, for if he achieves his goals, humanity does not just survive, it thrives among the stars. This is the story of Elon Musk, a story of hard work, genius, and a relentless, driving kindness for the future of us all.